I want to tell you guys about a civil law case out of New York City that has really bothered me for the last 10 days. A trainer at the high-end gym of Equinox in New York City got fired after being late 47 times in a 10-month period. And you'd think to yourself, yeah, right, big deal. She got fired, end of story. No, because she sued. She claimed that she was fired for being a black woman and won $11.25 million. Say whatever you want. You can explain it away like the leftists on Twitter tried to do so to me, that there were others that were also late, and why weren't they then fired? To which I reply, it doesn't matter, because number one, if you are late 47 times, that is grounds to fire anyone. Secondly, if a white girl had been fired, could she have sued for having been terminated because she was a white woman? I asked this to the leftists on Twitter who supported the verdict somehow, and every single one of them refused to answer the question because we all happen to know the answer. And the truth is that this is a new form of systemic racism. Literally, the legal system of Jim Crow in the South, in, say, Alabama way back when it was impossible for blacks to be treated in the blind way that justice is supposed to treat every single American. During what I'm going to call Floyd Crow of today, black people clearly get preferential treatment. And it is unfortunately creating enmity and backlash from whites towards blacks. And with it, unfortunately, we have a much more divided society. And I think about this from the standpoint of an employer. I still don't wish to discriminate against any good and decent individual. But game theory will tell you that it is going to be a statistically grievous error to hire anybody who happens to hold a trump card that would cancel out their fireable offense, for example, like being late, say, 47 times, and then be able to turn it into a civil rights matter where a woke jury siding with the poor, oppressed black person who was late 47 times would destroy my business, everything that I've worked for over all of these years, literally just taking it from you. And my question is, why wouldn't you just hire a white or Asian person instead who lacks the power granted to some by our newly systemically racist system? They can't do this to you. Again, I ask, could a white girl have sued and won $11.25 million by claiming that she was fired for being white? And let me put that giant Manhattan jury verdict, that massive amount, into perspective, the $11.25 million settlement, just to show you how dastardly, how virtue signaling, and how racist this jury was with other people's money. Just put it into context. A motorcyclist that was zipping through parked cars during gridlock at 40 miles an hour smashed into my own father as he was moving between them at a traffic light where he was legally entitled to do. He hit my father's head, knocked him to the ground, and left my poor father brain damaged for the rest of his relatively shortened life. Before he died, his existence was positively miserable. And the report by the police deemed it to be 100% the fault of the motorcyclist. How much was the judgment for? It was for something, and I don't know the exact figure, I think it was a little bit under $2 million, of which my family received a whopping total of $40,000. You know how much that is? That is enough to pay for 4 months of his live-in nurse who was with him till the end for a couple of years. That was 4 months of her salary that we covered. And she had to deal with my dad, this former theoretical MIT-trained theoretical physicist who couldn't add 10 plus 11 together. And this man not only could not do that, but she had to dodge the diapers that he would throw at her that he was wearing. At the end of his life, he couldn't speak. Now, this was a sub $2 million judgment, of which we received basically no money. And simply, she was fired for being black after being late 47 times. This woman receives such a whopping infusion amount of money from a company that actually produces something valuable. And my question for you, is that a just society? There is no way that a white woman could have sued and won, as I stated earlier, because she was fired for being white. But that does not mean that a black woman can't do that, because we are now today a systemically racist society with a justice system that is not blind to color. Because I don't care what you say, if you're late 47 times, I don't care how many other times people are late, that is grounds for termination, and everybody knows it, except for these woke fucks that are making this horrendous decision that are destroying businesses around the nation.